today I'm going to take you on a little tour of what I consider to be the foundation of my creative practice, which are my 3 little notebooks. One of them is kind of big, that I use to write and draw things and generally keep track of my life and my observations and my inner world. So first off, the reason that I have 3 of them and not just one is that I like to keep my words and my drawings separate. And of course, this is something that I've experimented with over the years. I've had lots of different combinations of sketchbooks and diaries, and I've gone through phases where I haven't written anything, where I haven't drawn anything, but this is what I've discovered works best for me. Because if I am writing and drawing in the same notebook, then I get a little stressed about paper type, about pen type. So for example, in my writing notebook, I've got a ton of thin pages, and that allows me to keep writing and writing and writing and not stressing about using up all the paper because there's just infinite. I'm never gonna get through it. That's what it feels like. And this sketchbook has really thick paper. You can hear it. So to be honest with you guys, I don't bring all 3 of these with me because I do have back problems and I don't like carrying all this weight. But on days when I know I'm going to be doing a lot of drawing and I know that the drawings are going to be important to me or I'm going to spend a lot of time on them, then I bring my big sketchbook. And in the big sketchbook are some detailed drawings that have taken hours and hours to do. For example, my skull drawing, which I did at a paleontology museum, that was something that I really set aside an entire afternoon to do, and I just stood there and focused on it. I have to tell you, I'm really glad that I did it in my big notebook with the nice paper, with a permanent pen, because now I never have to be concerned that this drawing is going to get messed up by something that's out of my control. I did these more detailed drawings of glass, which took a long time as well. And basically, if I'm going to devote a lot of time to something, then I will use the big sketchbook. Because if I really want to, I could always cut it out and frame it or give it to someone or even sell it. But the things that I do in the little notebooks, I try to keep them for me. They're thought processes, and I find that my thought process is interrupted when I start thinking about selling something or making it perfect. So these notebooks are my chance to just express myself directly and not think about the outcome. I got this notebook because I was feeling tired of physically holding up my large notebook while sketching, and I thought, why not go tinier and see what happens? And I'm really glad I did, because there's less pressure on me when I use this notebook. It doesn't feel like some big studio project that I'm setting up. It just feels like a little thing that I can dip into, and if nothing special comes out of it, whatever. It's a place for me to workshop my ideas and just to test things out and not feel like it's a waste of paper. So I have some things in here that I'm super proud of and super excited about, but when people flip through it, it's kind of like watching someone walk through a minefield. I'm just like, oh yeah, that one's, oh no, don't look at that. Okay, skip that page. It's like 1 out of every 4 pages is something that I'm actually proud of and want people to see. But if I'm gonna give my notebook to someone to flip through, they're gonna see all the pages, which means seeing the half-finished things, the weirdo experiments. I like this little notebook because it is a collection of little memories, and I remember exactly where I was when I sketched each thing, even if it was only a quick 30-second, 3-minute sketch, whatever. I know where I was and I know why I had that impulse to pull this out and draw. So I got this notebook about a month and a half ago, and I've already filled up a ton of it. I think I've filled up like 80 pages, which is crazy. But I've had a lot to think about and I've had a lot to say, and I've experienced a lot in that time because this has been the time period that I had my last few weeks in Paris and then I came back home to America, and I've been working on some really big projects and also some internal projects of trying to figure out what I want from my life. I've been dealing with visa issues. I've been seeing people I haven't seen in a long time. I've been living with my family. You can imagine there's a lot to say. So here's an example. I have a page that's entitled Goals for America, and I wrote that on the plane ride back from France, and that was just some ideas that I had to keep myself busy and productive and things that I might be able to accomplish in my hometown. Usually I just write diary entries right before I go to sleep. I give the details of my day. It's not very interesting, but just for my memory. And then I talk about what's on my mind, if I'm in a good mood, if I've been going through a dark period. And then I usually end with some idea of what I'll do the next day. And that helps me because then when I wake up, I'm like, okay, this is the day that I'm going to work on my drawing project, or I'm going to record my podcast, or I'm going to make a video like this. As a freelancer, having that structure, even if it's self-imposed structure, is really important. I do also have pages where it's just a shopping list or a to-do list because I'm not precious about this notebook. As I said, I got a notebook with a lot of pages because I want to be able to use those pages. I'm never going to hold myself back from writing something if in the moment I feel like writing it. That's my policy for myself. If I want to write it down, I write it down. If I never look at the paper, whatever, but why not? The act of writing itself is really therapeutic to me. And even though I don't read a lot of these ever again, writing them was part of an experience that really helped me get through the moment or helped me process something or helped me move on to the next thing in my life. So there you have it, my 3 notebooks that I carry around with me in my backpack and that I fill with my art and ideas over the course of a day. And honestly, if I leave my house and I don't bring these along with me, I get really stressed out. I love drawing and writing during those little spare moments that we might not even think of as opportunities to write or draw, like sitting on a train or waiting for a friend who's late. Just any of those little moments can be practice, or they can be a moment of self-expression or self-reflection. I try not to let those go to waste.